Okay. Greetings. You are tuned into Context Live. The date is June 6, 2024. That's 6/6/24, even though 6/6 is 36. So six here. And today we're just talking about some current affairs, what's going on in Jamaica. I found it necessary to talk about drive sharing, public transportation, and the dangers in a space where Jamaica is a high crime society. And for some strange reason, the miscreants, the reprobate minded people just feel like they must take away people girl picnic and hurt them. The thing about it is, for those of you who don't know what a high crime society is, I think it's best for me to tell you, even though I would have said it in previous videos. It is it's a country where the murder rate is high. It's a country where people are finding other ways to ensure their safety because, the government is unable to protect them from the dangers of, those crimes, violent crimes, rape, kidnapping, murder, assault, grievous bodily harm, just stuff like that. And so finding ways to get around and navigating the environment to ensure that they stay alive, and um, that's just simply the reality. And when you process it like that, that's how we have to deal with um, living in a high crime society, and then how the government responds to issues when it comes to crime. Some of the serious issues in Jamaica is um, violence with the use of guns. The government's response was to raise the mandatory minimum for possession and just firearm uses generally, more harsher sentences for just being in possession of the firearm. And just based on that, um, the government just responds and people go away for a very long time. And whether or not the murder rate goes down as a result is a matter for your eyes to see. But that's just the reality. Gun violence is prevalent. Sad to say, violence against women, it's a real thing. So when it comes to rape, sexual assault, grievous sexual assault, um, assault, simpliciter, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and again, like I say, grievous bodily harm. These are things that not only women experience, men experience it too. But man a man for stand up like man, and then you have the situation where children also experience all of this. Um, so we're going to talk about that in the context that people are trying to survive. So young people who working in the call centers, just young people generally, you work hard, you make the sacrifice, you manage to get a loan from one of those banking institutions, and you buy a car. For you to keep the car, even if you have a little job, you sign up with these in-driving apps to make a little extra money. Then there are people who are clearly idle and have nefarious intentions. They then go to sign up for the apps as well. And then the result is the missing teacher who has turned up dead, somebody confessing, and the information possibly not readily available, but they managed to crack the case, and it's somebody who from a drive sharing app um, would have caused the result. That is the context in which we are talking. So let me just officially start the show, and then after doing that, I do my big ups because I see my little following now. Yeah, I knowing the names and I remembering background check. Yeah, and Catherine Daly is always offering the advice, but soon come.
That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way.
Aha. Yeah, so I have a little joke for I have a little joke for the context or critical thinkers. And those people on TikTok, you're tuned into context matters. Now you have some retarded people, or yeah, for lack of a better word, people that don't have any sense. You know, if you're a Jamaican, of course, sometimes you're gonna have educational deficiencies. But let me just make something clear. If you are obsessed with a public case that is probably the biggest case out of Jamaica, go and get your information from from the bloggers who have to make money blogging about cases and blogging about important people in the Jamaican space. Don't come to Context Matters where it is an educational program and you need and try to get information. If you kind of slow and you need the information, there are bloggers out there who is doing absolutely nothing with their life that can give you all the misinformation you need. Stay off my platform, um, and don't be a gadfly, don't be a menace. And I'm not gonna block you because I believe in freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Say anything you want. Just this is an educational program. It's necessary for people like you who your IQ is probably low. So that's the last I'm gonna do about addressing that. You're tuned into Reggae Global Radio, Isaac Buchanan 5419 YouTube, and I'm also streaming on TikTok for my TikTok people, Taps and Roses. All right, so big up yourself, Catherine Daly, Alyssa Abu, Nicola Parks, G, Angel, Patricia Hastings, Diana Henry. I see you. Someone in the name. What the real Gaza Mafia? Big up yourself. AG, big up yourself. Antonio Whitaker, I see you. Juliet Jackson. Juliet. There's a whole heap of things going on with Juliet. You know, I don't see no Rhoda in the comments, but you know how I go. Isilda Williams, world great. Big up yourself and over there on TikTok, Original Jazzy, Selector Pearl, I Heart Jevi, Chabby, you know, everybody, I'm seeing you. And to my moderators, big up yourself. As I said, we don't block people. Rowan, the designer who creates the context matters in the background, photos from Candid Expressions. I see you as well. When you're really watching, you know, loving the support, big and respect. Now, as I said, this conversation, I'm going to tell you why it's important. We are critical thinkers. We have to wonder that when there's every action, there's a reaction. We must make the assessment as citizens when they are overreactions, if that is a necessary thing. Aha, look at that. Jody, big up yourself. You know, from me see you, I have to big you up. Good work on the signing of those affidavits today. Very important in terms of how the modern society works and the use of transportation, public and private, to get documents. So it's a good thing we have good roads and we have everything to meet deadlines. Big up yourself. All right. Anyway, again, pick your poison. So you have the taxi. Taxi man, I don't know, vex with me, but I don't know why on a drive like that. When I get people where them going. Just this week, woke up, looked on the news, and I don't know what was happening on Washington Boulevard. But here's what I'm going to tell you that happened: a coaster bus slammed into the back of a truck. The truck don't even have one dent. I lied. It have a little dent and a little marrow and all of that thing on it, but people died. Yeah, people died, and one person died, but a lot of persons were injured. So let me just say the facts as it is. But it's public transport. There are certain things that we do, and when we do it with in the middle of our minds. We know that we expect there are expectations. It's almost like you wake up in the morning. For those of you who have good hygiene, you brush your teeth, you brush your tongue, you use mouthwash if you can afford the mouthwash. You chew stick where that is concerned. But hygiene means there's certain things you do. Then you bathe. After you bathe, you wipe off yourself. You put on your shoes, your socks if you wear socks and these things. But there are certain rules that you do. So, for instance, when it comes to, here's some of the things that humans do without thinking about it. One, we'll buy a plane ticket, we'll go in on the plane. If it's first class, you sit down nice. Economy, Spirit Airlines kind of thing, Blue Jet, back of the bus kind of business. Them can sue if they what, but not plane of choice. But you sit down and one of the things you don't even check who the pilot is. You don't know if him and his wife did argue or she and her husband did argue. You don't know if them have 1 foot, 2 foot. If you don't know if them higher work, you just know the plane are gonna go up. Nobody find out if them have the expertise, because we figure if you buy the ticket and you use the airline of choice, that the airline is responsible for making sure that the pilot knows how to fly the plane. Unless you're on Soul Plane, and then we'd have to get Kevin Hart to talk to us about that disaster. But there are just certain things that we expect. So we don't check those things. Well, I can tell you this, it's almost like going to a restaurant, you expect the chef to know what him do. Woe be unto you if you pull up in a restaurant and Isat is the chef. That's the type of things that we're talking about in terms of expecting things. So guess what? The same rule applies. You go in a taxi, if it's just a taxi man on the road, you expect that when you go in there, you're not going to get robbed, you're not going to get kidnapped, you're not going to get shot, and the car not going to crash. In fact, the probability, I'm not even going to put those numbers out there, but you don't expect that when you wake up in the morning and you go into a car, whether it be somebody say we will get KFC. Certainly, when you pull up in the KFC, you expect the barbecue chicken, you expect the herbs and spices. You know that is the reality. We are just sure of these things, but what we don't expect is that if you same thing, the sharing app, the ride sharing apps, and I'm not going to call them because I'm not doing no promotion for what I consider to be really low class transportation and whatever, but it's making money for people. But people have to get around. It's a little bit more convenience, and you can do your negotiation or whatever. And so when you don't have your own car, that's how you're gonna have to travel. My thing about that. So you pick your poison. The thing about it is this: with those things in place, the danger, especially talking to females now, the dangers of commuting, especially at night, and we've had the flexi rape scandal, we've had the this scandal, and we have had all considerations because women are a protected class when it comes to how people take advantage of them. I don't know, when you rob, somebody's gonna rob, they rob, but for some strange reason, you get up in the morning to rob, but the woman's sexy, so you have to do a little rape with it because it just come with the territory. Like, my girl, me I gonna rob you. What make you did have to look so good? Beg your peace. I don't know. It's just almost like it cannot be that people wake up in the morning and decide that they're gonna do something like that, save and except for they're of a reprobate mind. They're clouded. Something is wrong with them, and I want you to pay attention and look at how crime is committed. And here's why I say that: because the people who commit the crimes, they care zero about the legislators. They care zero about any legislative intervention, especially when it comes to harsh crime. In Jamaica, our legislators are thinking that if they say the mandatory minimum for murder is 50 years, that they have solved the problem. But the reality of it is that is not the case. What you are supposed to do is be proactive and not reactive. What has happened in the Jamaican space is, let me give you two scenarios. The last name of the young lady is Dean. She would have left the back gate of Huey. That would be the I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's the Huey gate by the theological college. And she entered a taxi, partially blind, and she was supposed to be going to St. Thomas. We have not heard from her. It was not a ride-sharing taxi. It was literally a red plate. So they say. Why am I bringing this up? And we must not forget these things. Is she has been missing, and our father, he mourns for this young girl every single year, and her body was never found, or if it's found, I have not been updated. But why am I speaking of this? Because it was not a ride sharing app. It was the same thing, a young lady traveling at night and is vulnerable to all the things that the spirit of incubus or succubus that take over people when night come and just decide that they need to be a rapist and they need to violate somebody's child. Happens early in the morning too. So if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you're a female traveling in the early hours of the morning, save and except for you're a spiritual person and you pray and you stay focused in life. um, Anything can happen to you. And these are times when we have to take it as a wake up call that something is happening, and how do we go about dealing with that? Well, you have a simple answer. Um, is it regulation? I don't think it's regulation. And does it happen? The first question that government is to ask is, does this happen everywhere in the world? Where's the statistics and what are the numbers? Because you see, crime fighting and the crime fighting tools are necessary. I could show you a video. I have a young man who he works for me, and leaving work yesterday, he finds himself in halfway tree. Did not break the stoplight. Nonetheless, you know the hustle already. Allegedly, he's accused of breaking the stoplight, and he says no. Well, you would think that the response to that is simply to write a ticket. If you're in America, if you're in England, let me tell you what's happening in England. You cannot argue with a police in England about a ticket. There is a camera that if you are speeding, it flashes. If you enter a zone when you're not supposed to be in the zone, it takes your license plate. If you park, the ticket meter man comes and you're not supposed to park there, he writes you the ticket. And you take it up with the council, take it up with the traffic court, plead your cause, and the traffic ticket coming like the Lord. You never see him. You have to plead your cause and pray, say, you don't have to pay it. And trust me, if you don't pay it, there's interest. Ain't no long talking. It's strict liability offenses. Anyway, officer proceeds to assault the young man, pull him out of his car, pepper spray him, thump him in his face, and get his back up. And this is in the middle of half a tree. So people see it and the videos are out there and all of that. So this is a constitutional claim that will come up. But a traffic stop ends up into probably loss of life, police brutality, George Floyd, whatever you want to think. Black Lives Matters, Jamaican Lives Matter, I doubt. But the response then, when everything I just told you is, hold on. Yeah, see, there's a Catherine Daly say he leaves your ticket under your wiper blade, and that's the end of the matter. So ain't nobody arguing with you. The ticket is attached to the car. Nobody needs your license plate. But guess what? Our ticketing system is not like that, because we a little bit more, we in at everything, and we have to trace, and we have to argue, and we have to violate, and we have to destroy lives. We have to be in the business of turning ordinary citizens into criminals, because they have to have you in the court, so you can't get your visa and you can't advance your life. It's a system designed to do that. And the same traffic transportation system is what I'm telling you about. They want to take your car so that you can take a taxi. So if you're a female and your car, you can't license your car, and you're overwhelmed by tickets, you have to then take public transportation, your license is suspended, so you can be raped and you can be murdered. And then the government say, well, we're cut out a in-drive. And we're not going to cut out a drive sharing app. So this is a good time to suspend it, because somebody dead, and we can just use this, so we bring everybody to the table, because that's what we do. Why am I putting it this way? Because there's no connectivity, and we're not connecting the dots. But if you are for the people and you do anything for the best interest of the people, you find ways to ensure that there's prosper. So again, like I told you, the call center workers, the little you will take a gamble and take a loan to get his car and have to do some ride sharing apps or have to run some illegal taxi to make up the car payments, is overwhelmed by a ticketing system where your government said no new taxes, but the JCF spend more time writing tickets than solving crime. And I invite anybody to challenge me on that. The problem is that if you can't afford a car and you have to get to work and you're a teacher and your salary can't buy a car, of course you're gonna have to try to get to work. And if you're a young woman and you're not ready to get pregnant, so you can't shack up with a man, you have to try be a little miss independent and get by and don't depend on people. And you're gonna just do everything um that you have to do to get where you're going. The problem is that you are victimized when you're trying to advance your life. This is an unfortunate reality, and I want you to stop and think about these things, because the reactive measures is not necessarily a good measure because it affects a lot of people. And I've said this many times. If in the Jamaican space people decide that they are going to do the young lady, the teacher, I was on Andre's show and I prayed for that young lady. I prayed that she would return, and she did not return to her mother. And one of the biggest fears, even as you pray, even as you hear that somebody is missing, the minute, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on social media, and you see somebody says their loved one is missing, the minute that somebody is missing, especially in the Jamaican space, Jamaica's so small, nobody no go missing. You can't even go down at Tastes and buy a liquor party without everybody know that you're down there. You just simply cannot be missing unless something bad has happened to you. Minus the people them were possibly doing rather than ride sharing people's other significant others and doing interviews about it. But apart from that, yeah, missing. So I wanted to think about that type of situation. Now, the response, having found that the young lady, somebody in the comments says, easy on the rape conversation. The rape, we always want to be easy on the realities. The rape conversation is a real thing. It is a situation where our women and our children are victimized by persons who clearly, respectfully don't know that Ripon Road open, don't know that back road there, and don't have the simple technical skills and social skills to navigate the social space to get consent. You have to talk about it, because you would have abused your right as a citizen of a country or a resident or a visitor to take out a driver's license, whether you rent a car, whatever, and you go through all that to destroy somebody's life and violate somebody's sexual autonomy and just autonomy as a human being, to violate that person. So we have to talk about it because it happens all the time. There are women who are suffering in silence because they live in communities where if they complain about the rape, and then the worst thing about it is in some communities, they can't even go and report the rape, because the minute they report the rape, you hear somebody say, them just report you say you're rape. And that case is escalated into something greater. So there's a gap that needs to be filled between the JCF and the citizen. And I just think that sometimes we lose our way. So this is a general conversation about reaction and how we pick our poison. And so in the situation ethics that I'm giving you, you start off with a young lady who wakes up in the morning. She wakes up too early because she has to get to work and she travel a distance. She has the option to wait on the JUTC bus. Do we have enough JUTC bus? That's a matter for you. The other thing is the robot taxis. Do they start and do they go at the time? And what about the convenience? Because sometimes when you go into these taxis that are the route taxis, and you after you bathe and you smell good and you follow the rules about proper hygiene, you go into the car and the same people, the mouth don't smell good. In America, they kick people off the airlines now because them smell bad. Of course, lawsuits will flow, but the best thing you can do is to, when people don't have good hygiene, you remove them. How can you be over the age of 10 years old and your mouth stink? Let me go 12. Because when you're 12 and that's the age of criminal responsibility, I think it's criminal for you to have stink mouth and stinking arm and foot. Bad hygiene. But then guess what? As I am saying this, guess what happened? In the whole of Hanover, I hear that a radio personality gets suspended for saying that the minister should do the proper investigation because the people them now no water because a big hotel is tapping into the water supply in Hanover. And they lose their job. But guess what? I can't lose my job because I don't work for the number. I don't play number two. I don't work for the number two station, so they can't fire me. But anyway, let me just make something clear where that is concerned. I'm complaining about people mouth stink. I'm complaining about people bad hygiene, and I'm complaining about the convenience of ride sharing apps and why people use it. And lo and behold, me cursing the people, but the government don't provide the basic necessity, water, so people can brush them teeth and bathe. So you meet people and you don't know what them going through to make sure, say, people like me, call them bad breath and molly arm because they don't get the thing. I wanted to appreciate this, I'm making a legitimate complaint, but the people are in a bad place. Because if you don't have the water and you can't afford the tanks, how are you gonna bathe? How you gonna brush your teeth? And why should I brush my teeth with the little water I have left where I have a drink? But I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting that out there. So once again, government don't put in the infrastructure. So guess what? To make sure that you brush your teeth and you do that and you keep your car and you pay your rent, you sign up for the ride sharing app. And I can open the lines and people will call me and the conversations will be both male and female. You know that I have this kind of car and I'm making this kind of payments and I use the InDrive or the whatever apps, the other ones, Uber, I'm calling them now, self-promotion, KFC, 6-piece, we love it, coleslaw, mashed potato. Anyway, and then you are a part of that. They have your TRN, they have your license plate, they do all of that. And yes, I do know you can take off the license plate, put it on another car. But if you know a car is registered and that's a license plate and the color of the car, if you see a BMW pull up and is a Benz on the app, why would you get in there unless you want a little flexi enjoyment with lack of consent because you like that as your fetish? Because you could not be a critical thinker. You could not be so dark. So if the picture of the person is brown, no. If the picture of the person is black and them show up and them brown and them not have cake soap in them car, I can't them. Don't? All right, it's a matter for you. But anyway, those persons. So when the government says, big up yourself, Marcia Stewart, I see you. When the government says, I'm putting a ban, again, means the government have the whole authority to do what they want. And them just radam. And see there, them ban the taxi service. When we say call in the drive, yes. But stay at your gate and the people them come and the app pull up on the Google map and you go in and them carry where you're going. And that gone now. So all who did register and the young men and the young women that is gonna get the $50,000 from the little hustle when it come in the night or throughout the day on their lunchtime, so they can keep their car. Well, back road still open, Ripon Road still open because your government wants you to supplement your income through those means because they shut it down. Now, I've heard the minister today on Twitter, through Twitter. Ironically, it just came up. So my phone must be fasting because I don't follow them. And it's he did set out his reason as national security, and what he did was call their bluff. So I am always, I put things in context and I try to rationalize. He said he was in talks with Uber 6 to 8 weeks ago and yada yada yada. But anyway, he did the ban, and there are the people they're meeting with all the drive sharing or ride sharing apps to regulate. So the question is, was this a means to get regulation, or was it a means to respond to the unfortunate situation? Because before that, there were young men who were the drivers of the InDrive that ended up dead, and they didn't ban the app. So which agenda is it is a matter for you. This is why context matters, and this is why critical thinking. And I must tell you this, everything that is done, even if they say it's national securities, if there are less restrictive measures to do it, and if people feels like there are breaches of their constitutional rights that flow from this, it must be demonstrably justifiable to say you're just banning everything. You just can't be so heavy-handed and so reactive. And I respectfully will say, in this particular situation, I believe it's wrong. Because what happened to the young lady is no different from when you wake up in the morning and you're going a coaster bus and the man feel like him in at the bus and I kick up rumpus, hey, and the guy sets up on the side on the thing and them a play the music and then radam and you die. So the way the concept of death, how we think of it, how we view it is a very strange phenomenon in this country, because people will die through accidents and diabetes and stress, hypertension, high blood pressure, and heart attack, because the country you live in has stressed you out. Suppose me tell you normal, like this is the time of year where I am prone to tell somebody something or quote somebody. It's my time of year. I know that for sure. But I'm not the only one that suffer from the type of lack of the patience required for some of the nonsense and the stupidity and the wickedness that take place. And when you say to people, be still and know, not that I am God, but to depend on God, you be still and sit in prayer. Take away yourself. Put down the social media a little bit, because them are going too bad now. Over TikTok, every time I look over there, somebody will say, my yo, hey, dirty Ross, you think I want to hear about where no context matters or no content? I want to know when the world boss are free. Where I do, you chat too much on the internet. That's every time I look over TikTok, that's all is over there. And yeah, like they don't have anything to do. So I know the time of year, but the devil find work for idle doers. There are a lot of idle doers. You know why? Because government banning apps, government destroying means of income, and tell you to be patient. And I promise you, if it happens for 2 months, there's a young man and a young woman that's gonna lose their car because this was a mechanism to get additional income. They're gonna lose the car that they took a gamble to pay because of government's overreaction, a reactive government and not a proactive government. Nothing about planning. And I'm putting it out there so people can understand. I want you to understand, because I can tell you this. There are one them hit Jamaica I one time because them did rob and shoot somebody. It's taxi them take when them take with people. You go and them rob you, them do all kind of things. Public transportation with red plate on a particular route, and those crimes are not solved, and that's a regulated issue. But because it's regulated, it's not nothing. It's almost like this: somebody went into an Airbnb and them open a tin of mackerel and cut them hand and them dead from tomaine poison, and the government said, all Airbnb have to lock down immediately because the tin mackerel kill the woman in the Airbnb. We have to regulate. So we're going to lock down all Airbnb. So all who did take out house and never use NHT and I use Airbnb money for own property, I open to lose it because government have to regulate when tin mackerel kill people by tomaine poison. And I am your minister, so I must know. That's how it go. Because they want to regulate. So they use the very, very unfortunate experiences of the people themselves to push their agendas, right? While rather than having the mature conversations. Do I think the Airbnb market needs to be regulated? Absolutely. Does InDrive and ride sharing apps and Uber and whatever else, does it need to be regulated? Absolutely. But I also saw On The Go, which is a Jamaican app that is in compliance and has done everything to try to be regulated. And they too supply the service as a local competitor to the international companies. And they are also caught in it. Somebody who set up a company in Jamaica is going to lose money because one person has the power to just do stuff reactive, even when it don't make sense. That's what that is where I'm getting at. So honestly, Jamaican RXP, we don't care what you think. If you come to this space, you can listen or leave. Why people don't understand that if you come on Context Matters, take the context from it or leave. I really respectfully feel that whatever entity you are, I'm addressing you, you need to just don't text in my life. Because if I respond to you, you're going to hear them say, I'm a lawyer and I shouldn't respond like that. I'm a host right now on a podcast. You could never be so simple. You could never be so small-minded that you don't understand that there are literally people in the world that is multifaceted. Look, go to the Bible and read or think about the story of the talents. There are people who exist with many talents because you have none and all you have is your opinion. Let me repeat what I said to Anthony Miller. There are people, everybody is entitled to an opinion, but when you don't, keep your opinion. And just because you say honestly, listen, you're on the app, you just text and your mouth stink, honestly. Hope you're not offended. I smell your breath from there. But anyway, that's I just appreciate that. So anyway, that time of year. And so we could roast each other, but we're on a radio station and we're on TikTok and we're on YouTube. So just calm yourself. Anyway, the topic and the context that I wanted to put it in, respectfully, is to look at the seriousness of what is happening. Look at when we are in any society in the world, because I'm now going to get to the part where we deal with other places in the world. There are in-drive experiences in the world. There are people who are kidnapped and murdered and organ extraction, human trafficking, all through these sharing apps. And people who are going to commit crimes, they're going to do it anyway. And so the response has to be something much different from what took place, notwithstanding. And so you need to recognize that you could go in a taxi that you called from a company and something happened to you. Or it could be a public transportation. It could be, you never know, because there's a higher power, and the messaging. We have to look for the messages, the messaging, and we have to deal with it accordingly. And so I want to hear your thoughts on this before I continue, because um, the public has to have a thought about it. And we are also speaking to members of the diaspora, and there are persons who um, would have either experienced something like that in their country, in their state where they are, that's not in Jamaica. So we can realize that the more things change, the more they remain the same. And so there's this thing where people, notwithstanding that Jamaica is a high crime society, you're less likely to die in Jamaica than other places in the world where their marketing tools appear to be much nicer, and so they know how to regulate, and they know how to report and calculate and deal with murders. But we over exaggerate, and we behave like Jamaica is the worst place when it really isn't. Crime is high, but we have to have a better conversation and bridging the gap between the police force and the citizens. Citizen trust, community policing. We never address these things. All we do is create spaces to make it worse and hostile environment, so people can feel like they always have to be whatever. But anyway, I have a guest. I want to hear his thoughts and his ideas. You know him, he's the partner draw boss. We're having this conversation because him showed it big last night, and he was telling me something, and I want to continue the conversation. And at the same time, I'm going to put the number up, and feel free to have the conversation because I want to know what's going on. Mr. Andre.
Greetings, Mr. Buchanan. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Talk to me. Your thoughts on the in drive versus fan down drive. In the
You
drive,
know,
huh?
I have been saying
Mm-hmm.
from last year, if you recall, when Leroy Page
That's the
went,
young man.
yeah, the university student who was doing the in drive work, I was
Yes.
saying to him, saying from that time
Mm-hmm.
that we need to regularize the app
Right.
because here it is that something happened to the young man and we can't get any information on him. There's no office in the country. There's
Mm-hmm.
nobody who you can speak to. There's no background checks that are done on the drivers. There's so basically a lot of things do happen and there's
Mm-hmm.
no one to talk to. I'm
Right.
going to say this again. From last year it happened. There was another guy who was a driver on InDrive that died. There was the misangling that this reached, and several other persons have complained about what their experiences on InDrive, Uber, etc. So I am saying now, if we never see another death, we wouldn't come to say, let us try to ban it. We never need to ban it. What we need to do is put in systems in place for them to become regulated.
Mm-hmm.
How would we regulate it is another thing, because I believe that just as how taxi companies in Jamaica have a central office, I said,
Mm-hmm.
I think we could start from there by centralizing, asking them to have a central office in the country that people
Right.
can reach out, get the information, etc., on each driver, etc. But I don't think emphasis was done. And then the worst part of it, I said, it was the Jamaica Labour Party who carried these drive sharing companies in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
So to now say you just go ban them without banning them don't solve the problem in the ISAT. Because the sex offenders are out there, the criminals are still out there.
You know what, I'm glad you raised that. Because in the conversation I was making the I kept making reference to the unfortunate events, because you go in a car, somebody's gonna kidnap you. Kidnapping the average Jamaican is not like you're gonna get ransom. You don't just
Mm-hmm.
kidnap a random person and there's ransom. Nobody will be taking
Mm-hmm.
in drive if you could get a ransom from them. But so the murder follows the human trafficking, the organ extractions, whatever you want to call it. But the sexual offense registry, I know you are an advocate for its publication open to the public.
Yes.
Give me the link as to why, because the inclusion of the publication of the sexual offenders registry is almost as extreme as the banning of the app itself.
Why
So
would
just
you say it
explain
is
to
as
me.
extreme as that?
No, just help me out. I'm asking you to just help me out in terms of tell me why you make the connection there.
Based on the fact that I think that if you're going to do background checks on people, right? You
Mm-hmm.
need, and in particularly transport, you want to know the person's history. Do they have a criminal history? Have they ever
Mm-hmm.
committed any sex crimes,
Right.
etc., etc.? So that is the reason why I call for the offenders registry to be made public, so that the companies themselves that is going to employ these people can do the background check and find out information on them.
Right.
You don't agree with that?
No, because here's the thing. The people who are doing the raping and the people who are doing the kidnapping and the people who are doing the killing, they're not generally the ones who are going to be found on these in the sexual offense registry.
So we are gonna find.
No, I'm saying on the registry, you're gonna find people. You're gonna find majority of the people on the registry are the young people who are caught in the way how we prosecute. Young people being boyfriend and girlfriend, boy 18, 19 having sex with girl 16, but they say is rape, or 14 and 15 and whatever. However, but in essence, it's going to be the type of people that the rape is kind of when them call it, now I'm not gonna say suspect, because you have to believe, when if you get found guilty of the rape, it means it happened, but the circumstances, majority of the times when people are raped, they're raped from somebody that they know. Rape, rape, raping places in the world are generally it's a little bit more aggressive. Somebody don't know you. When people think of rape, is a in the bush thing. The rapes are also the dating type of rape, and therefore the registry is a little bit more complex. So
Mm.
while it is that maybe it is that the JCF and the relevant authorities is supposed to have access, which I know that they do, the publication of that can be a little bit problematic. But I don't want nobody think I'm advocating for the secrecy of the registry. It's just to understand that when we think of convictions, we think that that's a marker to crime. But there are persons who are committing crime just not getting caught. And especially persons who are sexual deviants, if they are professionals, they will know how
All
to do
right,
it.
context matters.
Yeah,
I'm glad
it
they carried
matters. They
this.
will not. They will not be on a registry because they haven't
This
committed
the
a
all
crime.
right. The one in question right now, who is
Mm-hmm.
alleged to be the killer for Daniel Anglin,
Mm-hmm.
is a sexual deviant with a history in Antigua, a history in Jamaica. If the offender, if the registries was open, we would have known that that man should not be driving in Jamaica or access to be having passengers in a vehicle.
I agree. I agree. I can't listen. I can't argue that, save and accept to say that perhaps that's why the minister is saying it's no national security, because he would not have been able to be in the public transport system with that being a sexual deviant. So I
Mm.
still don't think that the response is the registry, but more so how the persons who allow you to sign up for the act, what their background check mechanisms is supposed to be. So maybe they are supposed to get access to the in drive not InDrive, but maybe those sharing apps should get access to the registry because of the, and maybe that's what the meeting is for with the minister. So perhaps
Mm.
putting it in context, the minister is right. If the argument you're making is holds any weight, then perhaps the minister was right to make in the ban and be like, when you come correct because it's not safe. I
Well,
don't know.
I am of the view that before he made that ban, he should have had some consultations.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is, you see, one-upmanship in governance has always affected this country. Whether we consult the people, we decide to make unanimous or unilateral decisions on behalf of the people. A lot of people out there, my friend and brother, depend on this app as a significant means of income and livelihood. To
Right.
now know that you're out there saying you put a ban on it. What happened to the 100 other law-abiding citizens? 2 egg or 3 egg going spoil the entire basket of eggs?
That is not my thought. In this situation, I don't think I don't even think that's a proper analogy because, as I said, other places in the world, I like to use the United States and I like to use the gun
Mm-hmm.
when we're dealing with it because you see in America, even when the picnic them go to the high schools and the Muslims go to this place and the white people go to that place and this and they commit their mass shootings and they're able to buy the guns to be able to do it. The
Mm-hmm.
president just gets up and says it's a sad day in our country and we must come together, but they're not banning no gun.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh. So you say them now go get them now give up the First Amendment, no sir?
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. Isn't it the Second Amendment? But
Oh, see there. You
yeah,
know the constitution better than me.
right. But I'm just saying the right to bear arms is an essential right because I also feel like if in the Jamaican space we had the right to bear arms, wouldn't be so bright to just feel so them can just come and violate you like that because them don't know. You saw the video where the 2 men attempted to rob the police officer.
Oh yes, the one in Signal.
And him yeah, and him
And him
wet him.
get torn up.
Corn, yes, yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. See there, to me and poison reach him. But
Yeah, man.
so you never know when you don't when you have the Second Amendment right, as I said, to bear arm. Believe me. It changes the narrative. But we are a country with majority Negroes, and it's just
No,
simply
we're
not
black
a right.
people, not Negroes.
No, well,
Negroes is the context to slavery. I don't like when you use that.
no, but hold on. What do you mean? You see, that's the same thing. People are very sensitive. I never use the word with GA. I use any the correct spelling, and you feeling sensitive as to that. If you suffer from that, that's a matter for you. But
It's
there's
not
nothing
me
wrong
who
with.
have suffered from it, but the people of Jamaica suffer from it and the
Well,
Caribbean.
I will say this that it may very well be that the lack of the use of the word is what is causing us to not empower ourselves. And there is a put in context. There's a major difference between the Negro and the word with the A at the end. But
Hmm.
we're gonna leave that for
I think you
another.
should look into that discussion for next week.
We're gonna have the discussion, but for me, black is not necessarily the starting point in terms of empowering persons because black and white. Anyway, yeah, we're not gonna go there. We're gonna have a whole different conversation with that.
Different, a different discussion on that one.
Yes. So we're going with going into the hour. Yeah. So tell me now, is what was going on your show yesterday that was causing all that high drama?
What drama, Isaac Buchanan?
No, I don't. I just was hearing this thing in relation to you having giving a warning to politicians, and I just was wondering how that what was that about?
No, it was more in the context. There's a context.
That's why I invite you here to put it in context for me because I see this thing going around and I never really understand it.
No, man, a particular member of parliament in the governing Jamaica Labour Party
Mm-hmm.
came on a platform yesterday and was refuting claims about
Mm-hmm.
allegations about her and an intimate relations with a particular leader of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And I am saying when she said the rumor started from members of G2K, I had to remind her the rumors was way before then. It
Right.
wasn't a rumor that started within G2K, but the rumor existed from the time she was at Shortwood Teachers College.
Mm-hmm.
So when she made that assertion, that was wrong. And
The
I gave
assertion
her,
about it being a rumor.
yes. Mm,
Okay,
I said,
okay.
because I'm saying to myself that how blatantly you come on a platform to say that you're getting the cold shoulder from the Speaker of the House, when in fact you know the Speaker of the House has confronted you on several occasions about the matter. So don't come and tell a lie blatantly like that, that there's no truth to the story.
Oh, so it's like sand through the hourglass. So
Yes,
are
my
the days
friend.
of our lives.
So it is more like, when you would see the real housewives of Atlanta, so the series name.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like the Real Housewives of Jamaica House or Belmont Road.
All right. Well, I'm glad you put that in context because I would say this as long as the young lady is serving her constituency with the best of her abilities, however and in whatever capacity she does what she needs to do to serve the people,
Mm.
she should be commended for that. And if
Mm.
whatever, and if she says she's nobody's bedfellow or is not required to be the bedfellow of the man in charge to serve our constituents, then I just think that we should not waste the energy on that. And I must say, my favorite person in Parliament, is the Speaker of the House, and
Mm.
she because of her role as a strong black
Oh, so
woman.
yeah, defend the wife now.
No, no, no. I'm saying to you, no.
Mm.
Listen,
Mm.
we're putting it in context. No, listen. You see it. You're moving.
Viewers, who
You
not
moving.
defend?
You
Who not
moving. You're
defend?
right
Wife
now.
or
You're moving. No,
matey?
no. You moving like a wife share, a ride sharing app right now. Behave yourself.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, me
saying
have
that.
me have shares in a in drive.
Well, I'm saying this to you that the cold shoulder, if you put it in context, the Speaker of the House never, when she write her letter to the then what is the clerk of
Miss
the
Curtis.
yes, to Miss Curtis. If that wasn't cold, I don't know what it is. When she said it's only
Oh, so you say it's
PNP,
in the
it's only
nature.
PNP
So you're
squash.
arguing it's in the nature of the speaker to be naturally cold.
Yeah, and she's doing, and that's her. She is stoic. She's well sophisticated, and she's very erudite and royal. So if she don't want to if she don't want to reduce herself and get off the balcony to drop into the barrel of crabs, you can't fault her for that and accuse her of being having the cold shoulder. I don't know
Oh.
anybody can be cold when Jamaica hot. But anyway, I'm just putting it that way and say that we need to be worried about the running and the business of our country and not so much the cas. I'm just putting that out there.
All I want them to tell me, I said,
Mm-hmm.
when will the statutory declarations be made public for the Prime Minister and his wife? I
Mm-hmm.
also want to know about the illicit six.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we want to know what's happening with Cornwall Regional Hospital and the overrun. We want to know about tax admin and whose land it is that was leased. Those are the things we want to focus on in this country now. We don't
Right,
have the
right.
time right now. You know why I'm particularly at this point. I say let us move on
Mm-hmm.
because it's not now the rumors of such man and such lady have existed. It's almost 15 years, 14, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why give the story now? Why give life to the story now? And when I've analyzed it and I've thought about it politically, I really believe, as I said last night, it's more a case where in which Miss Crawford is trying to find a political exit strategy as a means of to leave central Manchester. So I think that's where it is coming from. Hit me up.
No, man. Yeah, man. I'm hearing you. Go
Oh,
ahead. Mm-hmm.
mhm. I think that's where it's coming from. And I think there's going to be more to come.
Right.
I think more is there to come. But I think the court of public opinion has ruled on the matter, and you being the Chief Justice, um, I'm sure it will come to the Court of Appeal in a few more weeks, where will I probably have
No.
to. And as I am here, I'm just letting everybody know that as of Monday, I should be doing a special coverage of the daily case of the.
What your case you talking about?
You're going to be in court all of next week, and I should be there in court with you.
Oh, you're making reference to the Vibes Cartel matter?
Yes, I'm just letting everybody know that I'll be at 1 o'clock coming on a midday connection to give them a rundown of everything that has happened in court daily.
Okay, okay, very well, very well. There you have it. Part of Draw TV is going to be covering that the Jamaica's big case with
Yeah, man.
the chatty lawyer.
So
So very
only can look
interesting.
out for that because I think that everybody would want to hear every day what is happening, and I will give you the summation from the court each day as to what is happening. I'm sure they will appreciate that. And I know, and I believe next week, Friday, will be the big day to see whether or not it is going to be thrown out or if it will be carried to a retrial. And I know Jamaica that my good friend Mr. Buchanan will be very busy next week. Probably I will have to be the one inside hosting context matters, but I have no problem doing it for my friend. So
All
I just
right.
letting you all know.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. So I want to thank you very much for definitely stopping by.
Yeah, man, anytime.
And yeah, let me just go into the commercial, and
Mm.
we have some housekeeping business on Reggae Global Radio, so just sit tight.
All right, peeps. See you guys at 8 o'clock. God bless.
Right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Step in it, night have come. Look here, keep we are so step in it. Step in there. Party goal.
Let me tell you something.
Step in
Whenever you
it.
want to
Step
tune
in
up,
it, night have come. Look here, keep we are so step in it. Step in there. Party goal.
let me tell you, if you want to know, that is what you call a bike taxi. For those of you who never see it, um, that is exactly what is happening. Is people will find different ways where it is necessary to get around, and it goes as far as bike taxis. So if it is that the ride sharing apps are banned for convenience, then people still need to go where they're going. So what do you think is going to happen? Naturally, this is what we
Step
expect.
in it. Step in it, night have come. Look here, keep we are so step in it. Step in there. Party goal.
Just know that that is what will happen, because you not one is a saying. So I'm not. I'm just using the saying. Them say one monkey not stop no show, right? And that is a reality. You're not. You can't spoil the dance. When you're living in a high crime society, people are gonna find ways to survive. People are gonna find ways to get around. People are gonna find ways to circumvent. Because one of the things that you also can't stop is if people now need to get around and they find themselves on TikTok and they find themselves on Instagram trying to get around and say, somebody send me a ride. And they just, a ride, just send and pull up at your gate and say, right, did it. You don't know who it is, but you got to go where you got to go and you got to get where you got to get. And that is the reality. I have the phone lines open, so you are free to honestly call in. I really want to know your thoughts. We have many different spaces and contexts. Also, something that I said I was going to raise before I get back to the whole thing. You see my position. I think that when we wake up in the morning and we put our clothes on and we head out, we do so knowing that life is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. And older people say, if life spare, this is what they're gonna do, and that is what they're gonna do. And so much things happening in the world that we just hope for safety. What kind of regulations could you put when a route taxi let off a young lady who happens to work in a call center? She was late, whatever, she remained on our floor, on her phone. A coaster bus made a turn, and right as the bus finished, made the turn, a truck is coming, and the truck couldn't stop, and it ran over her. Do you ban the route taxis for letting the girl off at the wrong spot? And drivers should know, make sure that when they stop in their taxis, the passengers are safe. Did the government provide enough turn off points for the taxis to make sure that children and women and everybody is safe and the flow of traffic is not interrupted? Did we plan that for our country? Do we have certain spaces? What do we have? So these are the things that is so important and so necessary, that where we fail to actually have the process or think about the process, we fail as a nation. And that's something that I really want people to understand. I don't think my moderators are over there on TikTok, but guess what? I have money. I promise you, next week I will have moderators. So when people come on my TikTok, and I'm going to pay them, I'm going to use cartel money and pay moderators. So I want you to inbox me if you're not working, if you happen to lose your InDrive. Cartel pay me a lot of money, believe me, whole heap of money. So I'm going to use some of that money and I'm going to hire moderators. So as of this week, the persons who are my moderators won't be moderators no more, because I'm going to give people a job. And anytime you see the people who make fake accounts and people who are, miscreants and deviants, and they want to be in my space, you just block them. And so that's going to be the rule now. Hello? Yes. Welcome, caller. Yes, hello. Well, hello. Me and technology, same thing every week. Yes, hello. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. You are live. Context matters.
Okay. I was saying to you, pertaining to the crossing, in taxi dropping off people and that sort of thing.
Yes.
I was going to the airport recently, and just before you get to that last roundabout entering the airport, where they put up that new roundabout with the new sign. Just before getting there, you have some speed bumps. It's really slow. And I was thinking the government could do that in all the school zones and certain crossing area, slow down the cars.
Yes. Well,
like even where the schools are put, there's like in Atlanta, yes, in Denver, sorry. The stoplights where the children are, it's always like a green or amber light it's going. And there's signs there, you're passing school zones. You're supposed to not be tooting your horn, you go quietly. And it's, everything is so slow down in the school zone areas. Why can't Jamaica do things like that?
All right, so then let me ask you a question. When I was young, We had a whole session about look left, look right, look up the road, look down the road. Don't put the picnic them on the side where the car them a come. Always whatever. We have people now, we still pay parking medians. How much is it that you expect the government to do? Where is self-accountability? Because the road is the hardest thing to cross right now. Right now, if me crossing the road, me not cross till the road empty, empty, empty. I have all day. If I have to cross a major highway, even on the white pedestrian crossing, I have to make sure that the road is clear. And so pedestrians have a duty to protect themselves against all these drivers who clearly buy them license anyway. We can't expect the government to be doing every single thing. And I'm not defending them, but in this part, in situations like this, I don't believe Jamaica is situated where we need sleeping policemen everywhere. We barely have the roads. I don't. There's just something that I think we have to have the conversation so we can do better in terms of managing the realities. Just like I think that with the situation with the drive sharing app, notwithstanding, when the young man lost his life, somebody on the live said he knew the young man's family. But when he lost his life, they didn't ban the app. Had they banned the app then and make the necessary changes and institute the regulations that they felt that was necessary, the young lady would not have died but for that. And so is it okay to kill the taxi man? But if a taxi man kill you, it's not okay? I'm trying to find out when is it that whose life matters more, what are the agendas behind it, because there's a lot of things that's going on. Your entire yes.
All life matters.
All life and I agree. All life matters. That's exactly what I'm saying. I agree with you that all life matters.
Well, we have a Labor Day. We have Labor Day in Jamaica. I guess maybe the parents would come out, mainly men, and maybe put some things in place for the schools that their children attend.
Mm-hmm.
With the permission of the government, and putting some of the speed bumps or something, not too high too. But even slow down the cars.
Mm-hmm.
And the children aren't taught to look left and right anymore. These parents are different from when I was growing up.
I definitely agree. That they don't teach that anymore. But there's a lot of things that they don't teach anymore that I just have to sit, especially with myself, and sit in silence and laugh in terms of what persons don't do or what persons don't know. For instance, I don't think people know to brush their teeth anymore. I don't even think the toothpaste commercials show them how to brush their teeth. I don't think people use mouthwash. I don't think people use deodorant. So there are a lot of things that used to happen. Their generations, it just don't happen anymore. And then people are talking about my freedom and my rights and my autonomy. And people get up talk about I am a tree. I must get up and say, "Oh, hi, tree. I see you," and participate in the psychotic breaks that people are going through. I'm just not the one, because I will be here to tell you, like persons who say, "Oh, I these are my pronouns." No, I know the English language. Notwithstanding I come from Jamaica, you're not gonna make me misuse the English language to make you feel better about yourself. It's just you just won't get that from me. So go elsewhere with that. I won't participate in mental illness. So we'll do that's a whole nother topic, and I'm always prepared to have it, regardless of who is offended. But I am just putting that to say that we can't let the realities, sense and sensibilities. We can't have persons who are able to think critically dumb themselves down to appease people. Just like the narrative where people say that you talk too much because you're speaking the truth and it offends people. Or people don't want to learn and it's offensive because they can't keep up with your ability to disseminate information. You have to be mindful of how you allow your mind to deteriorate because of the people around you. And go back to one of the first context matters, Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave. People looking at shadows on the wall, and when the reality hits them, they want to punish you for speaking about the realities. Jamaica has reached an impasse. We have reached a place where human rights is for all. People recognize it, and you have to challenge the nonsense that takes place, because otherwise you're going to hear people say, this is how we've always done it. But not because they always do it that way, it doesn't mean it is right. Exactly. And so we have to get to a place where we change that. And naturally, it's almost like I don't understand how it is that Jamaica, and I'm speaking about Jamaica now, and to the diaspora too, because you're still Jamaicans. Jamaica is a Christian society with no concept of what Christianity is.
They don't use their money anymore.
No politeness. If if you say good morning to somebody, them say, "What up to you?" Yeah, it's a problem. So, Carla, I want to thank you so much for calling. You never said your name, but
My name, it's okay. Stay tight.
Your name is Stay Tight. Then I wouldn't make it loose. Anyway, stay tight. Thank you for calling, because I want to. Hold on, she said. Okay, Stay Tight is up in age and she have firm skin. So here's what I'm gonna tell you: stay tight. Listen.
Step in it, night and come. You can't keep with us, so step in it. Step in there.
All right. Permanent. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
My name is in the phone. You see my name in the phone.
All right. Very well. Thanks for calling. Take care. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. Yeah. So that is big up Stay Tight for sharing her opinion. Call us. The lines are open. Let me see what's going on here. Greetings. How you doing? Yes. Hello, caller. See it? Same thing again. No different. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I'm saying I said good evening to you and to all the people in your chat. But two things.
Mm-hmm.
With the young lady who lost her life, it's rather unfortunate, but it comes on to, her right first and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed that because of the, everybody has a cell phone now, everybody's distracted. They're walking across the street and they're paying attention to their phones rather than looking, left, right, and how to cross the road to make sure they're safe in crossing the road. I see people pushing baby strollers, and instead of looking where they're going, they're on their phones. So a lot of I see people driving and texting. So there are a lot of distractions. So people have to take their lives seriously and realize that driving distracted, walking distracted, and you can lose your life, as in the case of this young lady. And I condolences to her family, but we have to pay attention. No one can be so busy that you're walking on the street and instead of paying attention to where it is that you're going, your face is buried in your phone. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
And about the ride share, what the minister is doing now is what he should have done before. So they put the cart before the horse, and now they're trying to reverse that, because I'm sure rideshare is not a new phenomenon.
It isn't.
So before they brought the rideshare to Jamaica, they should have done their due diligence. Who set up these companies? Who are these companies that are setting up rideshare? What are the mechanisms being put in place to protect the consumer as well as the drivers?
Mm-hmm.
So they did none of those due diligence, and here we have it. Shouldn't have to take Miss Anglin's death for them to realize that they should have done all this legwork in the first place. It cannot be that they're in a hurry to get a rideshare company in the country to set up a rideshare company without first doing the due diligence and doing all that, do the hard work, so to avoid some of these situations. Because even with Uber in America, there are there are rare occasions where a driver, rapes a passenger or, leads to murder. However, they can find that person immediately.
But I want to say that I'm going to put to you that the only reason that this investigation was able to close so quick and for them to find a suspect is because they got the information from the company.
I agree.
And
with
so,
that. I agree with that.
Right. And so,
yes, I'm saying, Isaac, other situations have happened before, and nothing happened. Nobody was held accountable. There was no calling to the table all the stakeholders and having a conversation about security. And having a conversation about how do we do background checks on drivers to make sure that the person's calling, especially females, it's not that men are immune from being abused or being killed, but women are more at risk. So what security measures are being put in place to protect customers from these, these kinds of situations? Because it has happened before. But nothing happened. There was no banning of anybody, as you said before. There was no banning. There was no blanket banning. So they should have done all that legwork before. I am happy that they were able to catch this woman because of the system that was in place to do so. However, it could have been prevented.
But let me ask you this though. The regulations are going to come. I remember I said Get on the Go. I'm hoping I'm saying that, but Get on the Go is a Jamaican company, and they are regulated in terms of how that company is set up and how they're in compliance with regulations, even though there's no duty to regulate, and they are being affected by it now. But let me just give you from a critical thinking standpoint. Matter goes regulated, everything goes together, and somebody just gets a fake ID, take somebody's birth certificate, take up 2 pictures, do everything, because guess what? Sat there, come and rape Afghan. So you rent a car, you do everything, or you have the plates, whatever, and you place nice, regulated, and young lady ready to go to work Saturday morning, and you take her away and rape her. What happens then? Is everybody going to say the government must do more because the place is regulated? Isn't the crime still going to be committed?
Well, Jamaica's a high crime society.
Exactly.
So, Jamaica's a high crime society, but I'm still thinking that is it not possible to put more security measures in place, especially in these confined situations, as in dealing with rideshare companies, because when one life is lost, that's too many.
I know, man. I agree. What I'm saying is when we are thinking about how to regulate, how crime prevention, there are spaces where even with the best, with the best, right. But somebody asked a very interesting question. Ashiba Omega says, what breeds the high crime? And those questions have never been answered, but that is true. Poverty is not only the crime, but it is the sin that is plaguing Jamaica. And when you shut down or you ban drive sharing, you're increasing poverty, because I'm telling you what flows from it for however long they take to put it back on stream. There are persons who are going to get behind in their car payments. They're going to feel what it is to live in America, where when you lose your job, you lose your apartment, then you become homeless, and then you end up doing all kind of things. You probably turn to drugs, and then you're suicidal, and then that's the end of you. But everything going right in a young person's life, and then you take these things away from them, and their life, they'll never recover. Especially at a time when you have student loans, you're trying to if you ever want to know what the feeling is of doing everything right, and then the life still jobs you. If you know the story of Job, these are situations that one thing becomes the straw that breaks the camel's back, and then a cumulative series of the events goes into motion and it destroys your life. And so,
right, and that's why I disagree. Sorry to cut you, but
no,
that's
man,
why
it's
I
fine.
disagree
Mhm.
with this blanket ban,
Right.
because lives are affected. You
Right.
know, so you cannot just go. The JCF, you have the Jamaica Constabulary Force that must have the tools to monitor the situation. So, like you said, you have companies that are in compliance. Look at those companies, because you're going to find, it doesn't matter what business you do or what agencies you set up, you are going to find people are going to find loopholes, and there are going to be people who will break the law.
Right.
Understand me? So you will never get away from that. However, you can put a dent in it. But to do an outright ban and then now say we're calling the people to the table, that should have been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And when the first time they heard about a situation involving REACTIVE, this is not the first story. This is one of many. This is just because it's this teacher, but there have been many other instances, and there was nothing done, which led up to this. So when those little things were happening, they should have been paying attention then and calling the people to the table rather than just ban them outright now because of this teacher's unfortunate demise. They should have called them to the table from the first instance. When they heard of the first incident, something should have been done then. Why did it have to take this teacher's death for them to realize that there needs to be a reordering of the ride-sharing program in Jamaica? You know, but banning them outright is not something I agree, because families are going to be affected. Families are being affected by it. So that wasn't the right way to go. They put the horse before the cart before the horse, and now they're trying to do the reverse of that. It should have been done the other way around. And the thing is, they say, God whispers before the walls come tumbling down. Mm-hmm. There were whispers.
No, there were, yes.
About different situations, but those whispers were ignored. Now the walls come tumbling. Wants to be like, try to put Humpty Dumpty back together. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And we all feel for the parents who now have to bury a daughter, So they shouldn't allow the situation to get so bad. And there's so many other instances, Isa, that can be used in this as an example. In this situation, so many other things happening that you say, do this before this happens, but they're not going to do it until something bad happens.
Well, it
is sad, but it's true.
And not only is it sad, it is the reactive nature of government that is the complaint in this situation. Because as I said, there are many things that when it is compounded, or the cumulative effect is what cause what I believe is the decay in society. It's very interesting if the taxi service is causing harm and you ban it, what is the answer when the coaster buses run into the back of a truck because of idle driving, where these drivers ought to be vetted and people lose their lives? Because the young lady, even though it was unfortunate that they took her away and she's a teacher and she was possibly raped and then discarded, it's the same effect when a family member goes in a bus and loses their life from reckless driving.
True.
So there is almost a social contract, and I said it earlier and I'm going to repeat it for those who just came. We wake up in the morning, there are things we're supposed to do: brush our teeth, bathe, put on our clothes, and then we commute. If we stop at Starbucks, we expect to get the coffee and the frappuccino because we pay for it. We don't expect to be we don't expect to be poisoned. We don't expect that the facilities have rats festering in the back. And when we do, then we commute, and then we get to the airport and we have our tickets and we have our visas because we stand in line, and some of us are dual citizens, so we don't need the visas, and we show our book and we sit in the plane. And some of us pay $1 million to fly first class, and some pay $200 or $80 depending on the plane, and we don't know who the pilot is. We don't know if him get up and said, today is the day, You see, when I reach 30,000 feet, I'm going to dip it, you see? We don't know. It has, exactly. But what I'm saying is we don't expect it to happen because there's a social contract which has to do with safety. And so when we click on an in drive, we expect it to be safe. But when we get a red plate or we call the taxi service, whether it be on time or whoever, we expect that is safe. We expect if we do the route taxi, the Juta bus, the 250,000, the coaster bus, whatever, we expect safety.
Yes.
And whether the government can regulate safety, I don't think so, because the government has no track record to fight crime. We don't. Right.
Again, you cannot fight crime without addressing poverty and education.
See, and I was just about to say that, because there's no mechanism to address the education. There's none for the poverty. We are having a constitutional amendment, change, redrafting, recreation, and no conversation with the public. And there are just some Jamaicans that think that they're so much better. Yeah, man, but let me just finish the thought. There are just some people who just think that they're so much better that they can't ask the common man, what is it what's their thought, what's going on. They can't even do that. You know? So
because they think they're the uneducated, Isa. So because they're uneducated, how can they make educated guesses or make an educated decision about their own lives and what they need for themselves? And I have read since you brought up the constitutional reform report, I have read it, and I thought to myself, oh, what garbage, because there's no protection in there for the Jamaican people. But there's everything in there to protect the Jamaican, the political directorate, which means they're saying to the Jamaican people, give me all the power to punish your children for the rest of your life for the next 50 years.
Right.
And so we have to break it down to them in layman's terms. Don't use any highfalutin language. Tell them that, listen, you cannot support this because it's going to punish you. You might not live to even experience some of the punishment. But your children and your children's children for generations to come will have to live with this debacle. So don't do it to your children. And they will want there's going to be a generation to say, did my grandmother sign off on this? So there has to be some serious thought put into talking to the people. Go to the basic schools, go to the grocery store, print it out, have that conversation. But before you can have a conversation about reforming the Constitution, at least educate the people about the current one.
Well, that's all on the assumption that people want to be educated. But I'm going to thank you so much, Carla, for giving me your contribution.
Yes,
and we will continue.
Have a
and
wonderful evening.
Always a pleasure talking to you. Take care.
No worries.
Yeah. So the idea, thought, concept of the reacting to what we already know is a high crime society. Here's something, food for thought. There's nothing that happens in Jamaica is not happening everywhere else in the world. Doesn't mean that we should accept whatever is happening as the norm, because it really isn't the norm. Murder will never be the norm. Life is sacred. What I will say is the narrative is that social media has changed how we position ourselves or how we see people. And what I mean by that is we say that murder is the worst thing happening in Jamaica, and murder by gun, but people are chopping each other. People are dying at higher rates through accidents because the drivers are suicidal and careless, and they manage to trick the system by buying and paying for their license, so they can't actually drive. And the reality is, a lot of people, they can't even read, but they hold a valid driver's license. And I saw a video where the man had one-a-day woman pills, the vitamins. It says one-a-day woman. And they have the video, and the man appears to be a construction worker, and they say, spell this. And he spells WOMAN, and he says, And like they would say to him, so what that's and him say, yeah, man, medicine, you take it and it gives some energy, vitamins, and they tell him to read it. And he cannot read the words, but he can spell all of them. Now, for the love of me, how he makes out every single letter, but he doesn't put it together as words, and he doesn't articulate sentences or even pronounce one word that he spelled, which he spelled it properly, but is unable to pronounce it. Doesn't know that it's one of the women, and he can't even identify the word men or even begin to use the vowels and use the consonants. And it's hilarious because that is what you're dealing with. You have people who neither understand much, yet alone comprehend, but they can read, or they can put into memory, or they can't read, but they can identify their names because there's some things that they know by just living on earth for long. But then one wonders, how can you even if you can read, how can you comprehend what it says about the stop sign or the stoplight, or just navigating through experience the dynamics of community driving. And there are people in the world, who they can go to England and drive and then come to Jamaica and drive and jump in as them reach the United States, they rent a car and them drive up and down. And them not say left side brain, right side brain, turn right, turn left, and nothing bothers them. And they have no problems. And if them crash, them just get out of the car and them go back home and reach Jamaica and them drive. And I'm just like, boy, it's rough over there. And life is casual for them. You have some people that say then go there this time, they feel it out. And they say next time I go in 5 years, me try a thing. And that in of itself is just so interesting in terms of being able to do that. And so one wonders definitely, what is it, where, when, how can we think of a way to bring education to the people so that they can make contributions, so that they can know what they want. Because there are persons right now that saying, Isa did a whole show on driving apps, drive sharing apps and taxi man. Why am I take set pan the taxi man them for? But then why the police are take set pan the taxi man them, and why them giving them tickets? But then them drive so bad, they probably, some of them shouldn't even be driving. And so even when a system is regulated, and even when you die through accident or kidnapping, or you're sexually assaulted, whether it's regulated or not, there is something that needs to be answered in terms of crime. We have to be able to answer the crime problem. And if we're not doing so by understanding the dynamics, then we're wasting our time, or we don't want crime to fix. For me, people are gonna say, "Yeah, I'm a criminal lawyer, so I saw him making money, and all he want to do, I done the youth their money, cause him a wicked and him is everything bad in the book." But you miss the point. You're completely missing the point that is so much a crimeless society is a society where money is easier to make. A productive society is a society that can compete against the world at large. There is greatness among us, and it's being snuffed out by higher expectations. One even wonders if somebody has to rape is because the expectations for him to have proper social skills is too much for him. But I don't believe so, because I see some dirty foot. Why, I don't even know if I can use that. I don't even want to sound like I'm being disrespectful. But you have some man get some woman and you wonder how, where, when, why. So there is no social formula for what people like. And you'd be surprised. You have some women in high places that just like man where don't have no teaching on their mouth. I don't know if it increases the pleasure for them. Likewise, you have some woman where say, yo, if the man not ugly, me don't want him. And then she say, well, look how me get the ugliest man and him cheat on me. And you have men who like women who are very simple. They would prefer to date the helper. That's the fetish. And nothing's not wrong with her, nothing's not wrong with the help. That's why you have to respect everybody, because if you watch some of those Bollywood African shows and you always see the wife, she's tighty, and then the helper come in and she says, Master, here's your KFC 6-piece. I warm it up for you with your coleslaw and your mashed potatoes. And he says, yes. She's a nice girl and she listens to me. And I said, I need some orange juice. She says, right away. And he said, boy, nothing sexier than the woman who's just going to get me my orange juice. Even if she put liquor poison in there for tie you. But anyway, pick your poison. Point I'm making is consent is so important. We've had that. We've dealt with it on Context Matters. And I think that we don't have enough conversations about seeking consent, because even seeking consent,
347
even seeking
4992.
consent. Let me just answer this. Hello, good day.
Hi, Isaac. How are you?
I'm okay. Are you calling for the show, or are you just calling me because you want to call me?
Isaac, don't show me a call.
Then say when you're on Context Matters. What you want to say? Talk to me.
I'm always watching Context Matters on a Thursday. You don't see I send out my notification.
All right, talk to me now. What's going on?
I hear Maria was. I'm not supposed to call on you. She was talking about what is going on. So I was just following up on something that she was saying. The regulations that they are coming up with now, that should have been something that should have been done long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But because our government is such a busy man taking care of themselves, I don't think this government is about the people. I don't think they are interested in the people of Jamaica and the concerns of the citizens of Jamaica. I think it's all about themselves right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at it now, 5 years down the line, are we going to see a next lawyer like you? You think we are able to see a next doctor?
No, yes. Let me tell you, 5 years down the line, in another 2 years, you're gonna have Kezi and Nita. Right now, you have Iqbal Chevaria. You have lawyers brighter than me, better than me, with the endless amount of possibilities. You have young people now, and even when you go on the internet, you have so much lawyers. Just Google them. Them all have them own talk shows. Them just not have the degree yet, but they just need to be encouraged to go and get the education. Many people out there greater than me, better than me. And it's just a matter of opportunity. And that's why context matters, because we have to nurture people and get them excited and get the people to be interested in wanting change. So I am not, I promise you this, I'm not a phenomenon. There's many more. And what we cannot do is to one of the things you cannot do is to suppress greatness, and this country is good at that. If it is that you challenge us, if you challenge, yes.
I'm not suppressing. I'm just concerned because of the way all things are going. Because I remember education would be like something. The first thing everybody wants to get to is an education before they even want a job. Nowadays, you get a good education, you come out of school, you look at these young girls standing behind the counter of Miss China and Mr. Chang cash register, and you're saying, what's going on? Why are you here? Oh, I've finished school and I can't get a good job. And this is what, because I question and I'm concerned about a lot of young people when I see them, because it's making me wonder. Oh, in my time, I was able to buy a house at 23. I was able to buy a car at 25. Wasn't owing anybody anything. Just going out working and putting things together. Now I'm seeing young people like they're sitting back in their mother's house because there's nothing for them to come out.
My mother hear you, because she can't put me out. We not depend that, princess. You can't put me out. I'll tell my father upon you. And here's what I said. Something. These are the conversations I need you to know. People have to know what is it that matter to them. Because in this day and age, you don't have to be careless. If you want a house and you're a young man, you just find a woman with a little ambition and make up on the NHT, and then get it right. Make sure you get her pregnant so she at least lock in. So if you leave her and she kick you out of the house, you're youth in there. That's the best thing I can tell you. But it is never, it's not easy. Jamaica has deteriorated so much. There was a time in this country, you know, and I talked to my mother and father, where you could buy house, cars were more expensive than house. And when you went to buy a house, if you had change, you just buy the next one beside it. Yeah. So, but those days are gone. Right now, they're selling you, they're selling you trailer container house, so you can be a trailer park trash. Yeah.
And I hear somebody say, "Oh, I want a container." I was listening to you, Andre, and I was happy you addressed it. With it
I'm never backing down from that.
He probably doesn't understand that it's curious, because I wouldn't want a trailer for. I said it to one of my friends, was sending it to me and showing me the container. And I said, "What are you sending this to me for?" "Oh, this is the new." I said, "Listen me now. In this age and year, you think I would look to go and live into a container? You're crazy."
But
it's what so you know what? You guys are taking this country way back to where we never even thought about that in Jamaica. That wasn't on our mind. Containers were coming into Jamaica because people were sending stuff. But nobody would think that if a government cares about you, it builds scheme of the apartment buildings to sell. It build the houses so people can buy it and afford it.
I have to say this. I can't even pin it. Sniper say, house can skate on the toll. Well, a trailer house can. But anyway, listen, I have to tell you this. Though a lot of them weren't around for Gilbert. But I was around for Gilbert, and Gilbert always take me away. Get your trailer house and Gilbert will fix it. The first hurricane we get it, will fix your business, and then somebody's gonna say you're a good youth and you never deserve to get blow away with your container house. But anyway,
that is future.
No, well, that's the point. The point I'm making is we all have issues about the future, but our priorities is what we need to understand. Don't be it's nothing wrong with being overly ambitious, but we in this day and age accept that society is a lot different. And so you have to be multifaceted, you have to have dynamics, you have to find ways to make legal income. You have to be able to reinvent yourself. So for instance, if them disbar you, you have to know, say you have a little tap up the screen and share the live, or you have a talk show, or you have something, or you can do a little song here and there. And if those things don't fail, there is rows of back on Ripon side, and there's also fans of only. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that people go and do that, but you're going to have to do whatever. And somebody says, of course, you can get a job at KFC. But the point I'm making is people will tell you about education, but there are many people who have education and nepotism still reigns supreme. And another thing is we all want to live like the people in America, and we all want to drive cars. You're in your car. I saw a man today walking when I left my house, and I went in the traffic, and I saw the man again in Barbican. He was in Barbican. Him walk and reach Barbican before I could get to Barbican. And then when he walk, believe me, no, it was easier for him to walk where he was going than to be driving stuck in traffic. So one thing's out of the other. Somebody says to me, I said say, oh, you do team up with her and make sure you breed her. But then when them say, don't be careless and have children, and then you hear them come up with the same government where say, you hear the people say, yeah, every minute she open her leg and she have 10 people picnic, don't help her. She have 5 twin, a 10 picnic that she what less. Then 2 weeks later, them not having kids. The birth rate is low. What we are going to do? Let's extend the retirement age to make up the birth rate. Because the birth rate, them telling you don't have sex. Then tell you we need to have a little more sex and we need to have a little more babies, but don't have babies because when you have too much babies, you're worthless. And when the woman have her 9, 10 picnic, government don't help her and realize that she's contributing to the population. And that can be a work because the fertile women need to make that a job. So when you stand up in a halfway tree, she say, "You look like you could have been a good baby father. Give it to youth." And then work it out. Because but anyway, I'm just using that hypothetically that there are many ways that we have to think in terms of from a utilitarian perspective, and whether or not we are doing that is another matter. But anything else that you want to say before you go, Carla? Because you get.
Well, I enjoy Context Matters, and it's very enlightening and it's open-minded, and I hope you continue and extend the hours, because the 1 hour sometimes you don't get much from it. So
It's 2 hours. It's 2 hours, ma'am.
No, 6 to 7.
No. It's I don't know which country is where in America you there.
New York.
Oh, you're there. Oh, we are in New York. It's 5 to 7 in New York. 4 to 6 in Jamaica. If you're in London, put 6 on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I put the notification on. I send it but I didn't see it until.
All right, but that's fine. But thanks for calling, and we will talk some more. And you can always rewatch it, tell your friends, join the movement, because context does matter. All right. All right.
I share it. It's a very interesting program.
All right. All right. Blessings. Don't tell nobody. You're not getting none. The way you sweet me up a while ago, you're not getting none of my KFC. May I tell you from now? Don't make me block you. All right.
Yeah, that's it. I eat my KFC out there because I don't eat KFC in America. So we both have to share it when I go.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care. You too.
All right. Donna. I'm okay. Talk to me.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the Lyft, the Uber thing. So for my part-time job, when I had a car, I did Uber and Lyft, both.
Oh, so you are an Uber/Lyft driver.
Yeah, part-time.
How much money you make?
With money, sometimes I make $1,000 on a week.
What?
From Sunday to Sunday, that's really good.
And that's your part-time job?
And that's my part-time, yeah.
Wow. So I can beg you $1,000.
You know, I don't care no more. So I'm gonna really do it no more. But yeah, it can be a little bit stressful. But when you work hard and you have incentives going on, you can make some bad money. Seriously, especially when you have events. But the entry to get in there is very strict, and I don't see why Jamaica would not have. I thought that's what they were going to do, because you have to have they know my social security number, they know where I live, they know all about my car. I mean, if you had any kind of criminal any kind of
a record, a background,
they don't even entertain you. So the same pattern that Jamaica should have followed, so that we wouldn't be in this situation where people are, killing people and stuff. Stuff still happens, but not. But if, for example, there was a case where the young lady, she was in her phone, she ordered a Uber or a Lyft. A car pulled up, she just got in the car. You have to verify the license plate, the person who is driving before you get into the car. I have to come to make sure it's me. They look at my face. Oh, you had an orange here. Is that you?
Right.
Yeah, so we have a responsibility as customers to make sure that this is the person, this is the car you called. It says exactly what it is, a Toyota Corolla, license plate, LXVJ, whatever not. And the person is a white or a black person, and this is what they look like. You have to match it up. We got to make sure it's the same person. And if anything happens, Uber does this, or Lyft does this. If you're, I see that you're going away from your address. Are you okay? They communicate with you.
Right.
On your phone. And you stopped for 5 minutes. Are you okay? Is everything okay? They keep checking on you. So those are the checks and balances that Jamaica should have had in place. And I don't know if they have it, but they're not following it. But Uber and Lyft, they're on top of their game. Seriously.
No, so I think maybe they're not regulated here. Maybe the minister does have a point. This is national security. I have to save lives. I'm doing what I need to do. Who broke? Maybe he's right. I'm not here to say that he's wrong, because I don't know about I don't know, but I do know, and I've seen persons use the app, and I've seen that you can monitor the person, and there's a map, and they drive, and you see when they pull up, I think for me, in the Jamaican context, formally it was the drivers who would have been at risk. Because, for instance, if you want to steal a car and you want a Toyota, you simply pick the Toyota that you want, and the person come and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna pay $2,000-3,000," however it works, and then they approach you with all the social contracts that it's safe to do so, because they have no information for you. So lo and behold, like I said, there was a young man that lost his life, and another one that I think he might have gotten, I don't know what happened to him, but it probably have been 2 incidents where somebody was missing as the driver. But this is a situation where the young woman, who happened to be a teacher, got in it. And for the reverse, because they don't know who you are, they come to an address and they don't know. They ask questions like 1 or 2 persons driving, and that's the basis of their safety. But maybe the regulation is needed. Maybe the minister is right, and maybe an overall reaction is a ban, because it didn't say it was a temporary ban. I listened to him, and it sounds like he's putting things in place, because had he not done it, he wouldn't have been having conversations with them for them to cooperate with him and bring the information that they need so the police can have access to it. So maybe that also is important. And in looking at that, maybe that's something to look at. But my thing is this: in the context of fighting crime, this is not the answer. Places in the world, and you said you're an Uber driver and you said you're a Lyft driver, the statistics show that a lot of persons go missing through it, and the investigations are on and all of that, notwithstanding the checks and balances. Not only in America, it happens in Europe as well. And so we can't deny that safety is always an issue when it comes to human interaction. How we go about changing the culture of violence in Jamaica is a conversations that we need to have, and we need to listen to the public. It's not about Isaac talking and giving his thoughts, and people is what do you think, because your thoughts and ideas matter, and you might very well have the answer for the geographical dynamics where you are from. If you are in Westmoreland, bike taxis is the solution, because the roads are so bad, and there are inroads, and there are places that only the bike can pass. You have places where I see you have people have a whole business trying to get you because there's no bridge. They have to cross the children. When I was young, they had a story about the troll under the bridge, and it's just a lot of things, and we just have to think about how we're going to improve that for the people. And in the middle of that, Jamaica belongs to us, and that is what is important. Knowing that Jamaica belongs to us. As long as we understand that, we will be fine. And remember, poverty is the sin. But Donna, I'm going to wrap the show now, so I want to say thanks for calling. And you're a bad moderator. I'm officially going to fire you and literally pay moderators, because you're over here and you have, instead of you're blocking the people over my TikTok, who make them where tell me say me chat too much. You're on the phone with me. I'm joking. So we'll talk. Take care. All right. Yeah, take care. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, very, very interesting show. I really want to thank you guys for tuning in. Especially those who participated in the comments, put in your thoughts, put in your ideas. It matters. It is important. Again, a reactive government in a high crime society is not necessarily the answer. Sometimes to stop the bleeding, that is how you have to react. I'm not in any way proposing that it's the wrong solution, but I just know that there are repercussions for it, that young people are going to feel it. Just people. You heard Donna just said she make $1,000 as her second job. A young man who uses his evening with 9 to 5 and then uses his on the way home up until 12 o'clock at night. It's a second job, and you can make thousand, do that all $8, $10, $20,000 for the day if you're really serious about bringing in income. And that's how people make their money. That's how people live. That's how people get by. And it's important to know that. But when it comes to the drive sharing apps in the drive versus fan down the drive, you pick your poison, because the dangers of the social contract, social autonomy, sexual autonomy, consent is the word, asking permission. And if you're incapable of doing that, there may be something seriously wrong with you. And even persons who have that fetish or whatever, it is very dangerous. It is not even in keeping with criminality to find yourself hurting people, damaging people. It's a matter for you. What I will say though is the conversations continues. Context matters. Going to sign off. Thanks for those on Reggae Global Radio for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week. Definitely, for sure. Now, my YouTubers, believe me, there are many things as we continue to navigate the space that, and TikTok as well, where we, as we continue to navigate the space, as we continue to grow, as we continue to learn, as we continue to understand, is open your minds, learn the tool and the art of critical thinking. It can save your life. It can change your life. I have to say that because I'm seeing situations where the blind is leading the blind. People are too lazy to have a thought and an idea, and people don't believe that they have capacity. People don't believe that they can become the best versions of themselves. And I just hope that as we continue to have these shows, that it is this space where you can learn something, contribute something, so that we can be better, so that we can, so the diaspora can continue to help the lost people in Jamaica. Lost not because they want to be lost because there's no opportunity, there's no chance, there's no hope because of how they are situated within the country. Well, and education is but one tool to escape poverty, but it's no guarantee that will happen. There's a lot of things in terms of personality that requires you to do that. But peace be with you. God be with you. Context matters, because if I matter, you matter, we matter. Context matters.
Caller. It took some time to understand. Yeah. Just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Like growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it. Take it to the next level when they come around. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. 'Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
'Cause everything's gonna be alright.
'Cause everything's gonna be alright.